Shad mentioned that, why don't you get into swimming? I mean, they used to tell you that you could be able to compete on a world level. And I said, alright, why not? I mean, might as well try. Never quit something halfway. See it through, finish it.
Cool. So, Thomas, welcome on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Introduce yourself for us.
Ooh, very, very broadly. My name is Thomas. I'm 22 years old. Life has always been oriented around sport, disability, and just doing my best whilst having fun.
Okay. You really undersold yourself here. You have a podcast. You're an Olympian.
We'll get into those.
I think the challenge today is to not talk about jiu-jitsu at all.
Yes. No, but honestly, with jiu-jitsu is probably the latest venture that I got into.
Yes.
I mean, I have to put it somewhat into the conversation because of how it has affected the shift in mindset that I have.
Yes.
Not just because of the sport and what type of sport it is, but what it represents for me. I mean, most sports I've done were always in a para setting, so with other people of the same disability. I wanted to take on jiu-jitsu for the sole fact that I was done competing with people with the same disability as me, because I like comparing sport to real life. And with that said, jiu-jitsu is something which is the closest to me to real life, because if I had to go on the mats or if I had to go to real life out there, the field is level. So irrelevant if you have one hand, two hands, or three hands, you're going to meet anyone in front of you in life. So that really taught me that irrelevant of what disability or ability I could have, I don't really like calling it a disability, because it's not really a disability, because you have your advantages and you have your disadvantages. But going onto the mats and having people with 2 arms or 2 legs, they could be 100 kilos, they could be 50 kilos, right in front of you, you're always going to learn to adapt. You're always going to learn how to find your own way, your own technique, and the same thing with life. And that's what I really love about it.
Yes, I agree with you, and I understand. I understand because I've seen you absolutely demolish people with very little effort. So
the competitive edge comes out a lot in the jiu-jitsu
we talked
space.
About it as well.
No, I love competing. I love all that it's about. I hate losing more than I love winning.
Okay.
Is
that your driver?
The fear of losing and the pressure I put on myself not to lose is a driver for sure. I don't like losing at all, and it keeps me up, and it keeps me going for sure, because I'd rather work harder. I like losing to a certain extent, like being second place, and then I have something to build on for the next competition. Because then being first place, always, getting comfortable up there, it scares me. Because I know I'll slack off, or so sometimes being in second place, being the first loser, keeps me on edge.
I can see that.
What do you think about that?
What I think about that, I mean, I agree. When we used to compete Overwatch, we were, for a long time, we were the second best team, and that was probably one of the favorite times of my life in terms of whenever we competed, because we spent a good 2-3 years competing, and we were like the second best team in Malta back then, locally. So we had something to work towards as a team, which was like, no, we need to be the best. It never came to fruition because the game died before we actually managed to. We got to a point, I think, where we were the best, but there was never another competition locally held. We only competed like internationally and online and stuff like that. But yes, I can see the drive of coming in second and be like, okay, I just need to tweak this. I need to figure out my opponent.
When you get the gold, I feel like I get a bit comfortable.
Yeah, complacent. Yeah,
Exactly. So, second place will keep you a bit on your toes.
that's true. I can relate with the competitive edge. I think the fear of losing is a much bigger incentive than the relishment of winning for me as well, I think.
I expect to win. That's the benchmark.
Mm.
So then losing is like someone worked harder than me.
Yeah.
Someone put in more effort,
Yeah.
someone put in more time, had a better diet or had a better presentation or block of training, I did something wrong in this. So back to the drawing board, break it down, see what went wrong. They say comparison is the thief of joy, but in life you're always comparing, I feel like.
I think comparing yourself to yourself is probably like the main baseline, but it depends on what you're competing in as well. Or like if you're competing in a combat sport, or if you're competing in a sport where the person with the better technique will win, I think you need to study your opponent and you need to compare. He's if you're boxing, he's a southpaw, so I need to adapt my game to a southpaw, right? Which is what southpaws has advantage over people who aren't southpaws. Same with jiu-jitsu, like this guy likes to go for the single leg, so I need to learn how to protect the single leg so I don't get taken down, right?
Exactly.
Same with other sports as well. But then there are sports that are like very much. I think like running a marathon and stuff like that. It doesn't matter you comparing to someone else, because it's all about what your body can handle and pushing that limit, I think.
Definitely. I mean, there are levels to everything. So, I mean, eventually in the bigger stages of the marathon, you'd be comparing yourself to the pacers or the top 3. So, it's all very relative to where you are in life. I mean, I don't compare myself to a black belt right now. But I do compare myself to a couple of the blue belts, all the white belts, who are in the same waters as me, or, same weight classes as me.
Same.
So you do compare just a bit,
What's your weight at? What's your weight at right now?
My weight? If you ask me just before the competition, it was 69.
69, okay.
But I walk around at 75.
So you're around my class as well. But you'll destroy me for sure. I'm way too old for you.
No.
I'm way too stiff.
You cannot put yourself down like that, but because...
No, but you have to be realistic as well, that when both your knees hurt from the moment you wake up until you go to sleep, that's a very big disadvantage, regardless of how much you train.
But I think the moment you put that in your head, it immediately shifts the way you see...
It goes away when I start rolling, like that limitation goes away. I'm still very competitive, but I need to also be careful. I think I'd rather lose a roll and be able to train the next day than go all out, pop something, or blow out any, and then I can't train for a very long time. And shit heals much slower when you're in your mid to late 30s than when you're in your 20s. So you need to so I think just that's the beauty of the sport. It is that you adapt it to your body and what your body limits are.
Definitely.
And I will reach a plateau much slower than somebody who... No, that's not what I was trying to say. Like I will reach my max level much slower than somebody at your age, for example, because you can go all out. If you hurt yourself within a week, you're going to be better. If I hurt myself, I have a month, at least. My muscle tendons aren't as... And those... Yes, okay, those are mental limitations, but they're also realistic. So I need to be making sure that I'm... I train every day. But I need to make sure I'm I'm making sure that I'm...
What you're doing every day is controlled to a certain extent.
I'm sustaining that fitness level and slowly building it up. And I did not have a fitness background like you did as well. So that's...
It makes a difference.
For me, that sucked when I started. It really, really sucked.
I mean, coming out from an injury, it's tougher mentally than it is physically.
I think so. Because you're scared of busting the same thing again, right?
More than that, it's... So going back from an injury, so coming back into training from an injury, I mean, your fitness isn't what it was. You're weaker. People who used to beat maybe 2 weeks before learned a couple of moves and now they're pinning you.
Yeah.
So it's tough for the first couple of sessions when you're back, and especially when you're still testing out the limits of what your body can do after the injury.
Yeah.
Both flexibility
For
and,
sure.
In general power. So, you have to be a bit cautious when it comes to
So
that.
that's the same, the same mentality with, like, even me, I feel much stiffer and all that sometimes. I think, like, when I stop training, that's the worst thing. Like, when I stop, my body just goes, just hardens up. It's crazy.
It's good to have a routine after the session. So if you stretch, if you maybe do an ice bath, stretch out in the sauna.
I tried the ice bath. I did a full 5 seconds and I was like, nope, fuck.
That's like the mental block, but the first 20 is where it happens. But then it's so easy. You'd want more ice. You'd want more ice.
You think so?
Yes. And then you start saying, when I used to do ice baths every day.
Okay.
It's about time I bring them back. I need a lid for my. I bought a
you bought
pot
one of the ones? Okay.
For a huge tree. I filled that with water, and I used to cover it with a piece of plastic. But now I need to close it tighter because all the insects used to come in, got dirty.
You could buy one of these like bins. And then you put a garbage bag in to protect it and you fill it with water.
No, this was a makeshift very quickly for a couple of weeks, €30.
Man.
And I used to buy a bag of ice every day, one of those big bags, like €3 or €4. I used to fill that up, put cold water in, plunge. I just talk to myself.
And how long did you stay? Like,
after a minute, it gets quite easy. Then I used to make it a bit harder. I used to put my hands in, go down lower to my neck, and I used to shake. So the water doesn't get like warm.
You don't create that
exactly.
insulation around you.
So I used to move my hands around, and it was a bit easier, a bit harder then. But you get through it. You feel stronger when you get out.
No, it does. For that 5 second period I did when I got out, I was like, it feels really good. My legs were like really warm after. I was like. So I will...
the instant gratification.
I will try it again.
You have to prolong it, so then you feel better after.
I will try it again. So let's talk about your Olympic experience, right? So what made you... So how does one get from not being an Olympian to being an Olympian?
So, I compete in the Paralympic Games. So basically you have the Olympics, which are the first month, which are coming up very soon.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Paralympics happen a month after. So it's for people with disabilities, physical disabilities, blind athletes, wheelchair users, people who are of short stature, upper limb amputees, lower limb amputees, people with CP, so the full range. So how does that journey start? Let's go back to how sports started, because I think that's the most important part of it all. So I started sport when I was 3 years old. I started with football. I started with malta. I used to play football, just to meet new friends, a different group from the school group. Made me feel good, It was just nice. I was never one of the bigger kids. I was always very small. So up until I was around 10, 11, not much success in sport. Lots of losses, lots of being on the bench, being in the C team, not even the A or B team, so I wasn't even in the top 75% of the team. I wasn't bad, but I still loved all the different sports. I used to do judo as well. I used to do handball, but those were mostly after developing, so after puberty. And then, obviously, puberty came, I started growing, and sports days became a bit more fun. Not as much losing. And so that drive really increased from then on. I did a period of athletics. I used to enjoy doing the sports at school, the running events. At the same time, I found out about para swimming. my mom had told me I used to swim very young as well, as like part of growing up. Everyone swims, I think, here in Malta.
Yeah, it's hard not to.
So, and then she had mentioned that why don't you get into swimming? I mean, they used to tell you that you could be able to compete on a world level, and I said, all right, why not? I mean, might as well try. So I got back into swimming, in the para swimming. So basically, I was still training with a team of the same 2 hands, 2 legs, but obviously the competitions I was doing were different internationally. From then, I competed in world championships in swimming. I competed in those were in London. Some good PBs, good swims. And swimming was the first sport that I wanted to go all the way and compete at the highest levels in. And it was the first sport I really took seriously in terms of both marketing myself to get sponsors, both training twice a day, waking up at 5 in the morning, again after school, 3:30, 4 in the afternoon. That's an hour and a half in the morning, 2 hours in the evening. Then you're preparing your meals, you're going to psychologists, you're going to nutritionists, you're going to physios, you're going to sports doctors. It was living like a true athlete in that time. It was very tough, but also with with O levels at the time, lots of toll on the body, not much time to think, just doing all the time. And I had reached a point in swimming where I said, this isn't for me. And after all that work, I was like, now you're gonna quit. I hate the feeling of quitting, you know. It's not even quitting, because it was injury which stopped me. It was tendinitis and bursitis in both my shoulders. I still have them till now. They still crack a lot every time I rotate. I run, sometimes it dislocates. It's very weak around the shoulders. So from a technique aspect, probably it wasn't the best either. You know, I'm overcompensating with one side of the body more than the other. And obviously over a period of time, it builds up. So I said, life isn't still, Thomas's life, it couldn't exist without sport. So let's try another sport. And I went into para-athletics. It was a good portion of my life. Again, I went in with the same discipline I had of swimming, training in the mornings, training in the evenings, full 360 in terms of health, sleep, nutrition, everything. And that was the sport I competed in the European Championships in, and then I competed in the Paralympic Games. It was between me and another athlete for athletics. Unfortunately, during a qualifying event, there was an injury that happened. I ended up going to the event. I was injured as well during the games. That was something that me and my coach were trying to keep very, very in control of. We were working with doctors as well, because with heavy training, as you know, comes lots of wear and tear. And I was in the best shape of my life, but the body was obviously feeling that jump in training. You know, 3 weeks out, you're putting in your last tough block before you're tapering, and you're preparing and you're fine-tuning. And I had some stress reactions, which are almost stress fractures in my tarsals. So with every step I was taking, the bones were getting weaker and weaker. So it was painkillers. It was, you know, just controlling the pain so I could run 500 meters in total, because that's all it was. It was 100 meters and then 400 meters. So, because I'm obviously a sprinter, but you have to run that in the least amount of time possible.
Yeah.
So then we went to the Paralympics in Tokyo, 26 hours to get there. Super experience. Even though with COVID, we made the best of it. We had to test every day, wearing masks around the village. We couldn't go around Tokyo.
That was a wild era in the world. Like it was really like it was a
Crazy.
weird time to exist.
It was a weird time to even try interact with people,
That's
because
crazy.
the best part is talking to the different people in the village, and obviously learning the different cultures, meeting. I mean, let's say there are 1,000 athletes. There are more, but let's say there are 1,000 athletes. There are 1,000 ways of training. There are 1,000 mistakes made. There are 1,000 different come-ups. There could be someone born rich and have the best facilities, and there could be someone who started running from school to home, barefoot, and
Yeah.
they're
And still
there
got
now.
there. Yeah.
So you learn that opportunity was almost missed, because you don't have those conversations with
Yeah.
people in the village, because obviously you're staying with your own contingent.
Mm-hmm.
The results were good, great PBs. My best times that I ran were then. But then coming back, you experience the blues. So the blues aren't easy either. And no, that definitely taught me a lot about how much I can push myself, what levels I can go to, and the true value of being a Paralympian and a great athlete, because even though that was the time I competed so much against myself to turn up to the next session, because by the time you reach the time of the competition, you don't want to do it. You're so tired. You're so mentally broken, but you put in the effort, and you're happy with all the work you put in.
How close do you train to the day? Like, is there not a break between like the last training session and the day of the competition?
Just the day before.
So you don't have time for your body to like recover or anything?
No. So when you're training 3 weeks out, you're training your toughest blocks. So you're running broken 500, so broken up into 100 meters. You're running repeats of your distance. But already 3 weeks out, the work is already mostly done. You're just fine-tuning, then you're just doing some block starts. You're doing some high-intensity sprints, maybe 10, 15 meters, maybe 40 meters sometimes. You're going to go for some light jogs. You're going to keep the body moving, just not tired. At that time, the tank is the biggest it's been. The engine is the biggest it is. So just going around the block isn't much damage to the body. I mean, it's no damage at all. Actually, it's better because you're not running that fast, intense.
So it's just about
speed.
keeping that cardio at that level.
No, it's not about the cardio. It's just
No?
keeping the body moving, keeping just not sitting around and being lazy all day. You're still tweaking and you're still testing. You're seeing what works best for you, even if it's that close. It's finding your little corrections within the race. If it's your head being like this or like that, it's really, really specific things. You're not going to change them overnight. So you'll do them over a couple of sessions. In the training grounds there, I just went for some stretching, some mobility, just to stay loose, So when the time comes for the race, I'll have a good warm-up, good drills, and then I'll just go and take it away from there.
Would you do it again?
No.
You wouldn't go back into Paralympics?
No.
Why not?
It takes a huge toll on the body.
Okay.
Mentally and physically, it was. No, I wouldn't do it. I mean, it's all representing your country. I'd do again. Not in athletics or parasport. I don't think I'd do that again. I mean, I don't say no. Let's put it like that.
No? You're still 22. You're reaching your peak performance in about 2-3 years there.
Exactly. So by the time of 2028, the games, I'd be probably at the best shape of my life. But I've shifted my mindset so much to compete against the level playing field I've been mentioning. That now, that is really my main focus. I've conquered that. I've conquered the Paralympics. I've reached that level. Now, this is what I want to focus on, and that's my target now. So I want to push more on that.
We can go on an open mat after this if you want.
Definitely.
We'll do
I
it.
mean, if you have a pair of shorts, an extra pair of comfortable shorts.
We'll borrow from the gym, it's fine.
Definitely.
I'm sure that the professors will
We'll
be
go
happy.
for it.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
go for it. I just
Why not?
had...
I just came from a session now, so...
No,
I'm a
I
bit
went to the
broken.
doctor today for since the committee. I had my back, which was
yes, you
aching.
mentioned.
Went to the doctor, check it out. I had a good massaging, some acupuncture.
How good is acupuncture? That's really good.
Good pain relief.
It's
Very,
no,
very
but
good
it's like
pain
it
relief.
really helps the healing. I had it when, what did I have? Fasciitis. I had fasciitis in both legs. I used to get acupuncture in the calf muscles to strengthen them and stuff.
All right.
And it was like, it really worked. After 3-4 sessions, it went away. I still get it now, but not that bad.
It usually lasts a week till like some of the pain comes back, but by the time the pain comes back, it's already healed a bit better.
My fasciitis is just there. It's because I sit down. Like it's when I sit for a long time, and as soon as I get up, my ankles are just completely solid, and I can't the tendon there is just.
I have a
literally.
trick for that. Grab some marbles or grab some I don't know. If it's lots of pain, grab a tennis ball. Start big, and make your way smaller to a golf ball. I have a lick of bocce. Exactly. I put it under my foot, and I just stay rolling around under the desk
While you're sitting.
Exactly, and it's like a massage. It's like rolling your foot.
I can do it now. It's fine. There's still quite whenever I'm rolling with somebody and they step on my tendon or hit it, just barely touch it, it's very sensitive.
Okay.
That hurts. But otherwise, right now, it's not hurting. But yeah, acupuncture is
It's good. I like
insane,
it.
yeah.
Maybe it's placebo. Maybe it's not. You know.
I think there's some pretty good research that's supporting acupuncture. It encourages blood flow.
I mean, it's just like what is
It
it? It's
releases
like
inflammation.
Uh-huh.
You're causing controlled inflammation in
Exactly.
the muscle. Yeah. It's very cool. I like how different this podcast episode is. It's very sports related. Well, actually, the one with Stefan was very sports related.
I have a question with regards to how did you kind of get that winning mentality? Was it kind of when you were sitting on the bench, at football? When did it start in your head? It's
That's a good question. I don't think it just came from losing, but the winning mentality was something to fight back over the miskin mentality. So, as you can see, I have 1.5 hands. I was born this way. So, in fact, my parents didn't know I was going to be born with one hand. No ultrasounds, nothing showed that I'd be born with an amputated right limb. So it was obviously a shock to them. How is he gonna crawl? How is he going to tie his shirt, buttons, a watch, balancing, walking, everything. So there was always the element of defeating the odds and fighting against the odds. So in everywhere I went, I wanted always to make sure that people don't see me for Thomas with 2 hands, but they see me for Thomas for his hard work, for his grinta, for his fighting spirit, for pushing the limits every time. Because I don't want to go somewhere and they tell me, take it easy, it's fine, you don't need to, because they have, be careful, I hate that, If I'm going to go somewhere, I'm going to go to be the best. Always. Again, I don't like losing. So
that's something. That's God. That if I'm going to do something, is the one what you just said now is just something that I like saying as well. I think it's just that you just want to prove that you're just
maybe proving to people isn't the best way to put it, because I do like proving to people that listen, I'm here to play, I'm here to win. And the initial idea people make of me, obviously being physically impaired, well, at least how I used to see how people see me, was that, I'll go easy on him, I'll go a bit light because he has one hand, or when I was younger. Obviously now people get to know me a bit more, you know, they roll once with me and
I
then
know,
they...
the first time I heard about you was like, that guy is fucking strong, like just, you know, he's gonna wreck you.
I like giving that first impression, which is
Yeah.
like, listen, I'll tap you once, I'll do it again, but don't go easy on me because,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, you see me with one hand, you know, just go for it. Like you're sparring with anyone else,
Yeah.
like you're running with anyone else, you know. This isn't just in jiu-jitsu, it's everywhere in life. I go in there, if it's a couple of weeks or the first couple of months, you know, doing my absolute best. It's not that I fall off later on, but, you know, the first few are intense. They're like running a sprint before you're running the first kilometer of the marathon with a bit of a faster pace.
Yeah.
Then you get into your pace. But before I get into my pace, it's, you know, really hard work. Just proving at least to myself that if it's not to other people, I prove it at least to myself that, listen, no one has anything over you. You could have no hands and you'd still be the best in here. That's what I think. And that's how...
And I think you're right.
How it keeps me focused, and it keeps me motivated to keep on reaching higher.
I mean, it's an important mentality to have, and you see a lot of people that I think we were talking about it in the mindset episode with Ken as well, that there are people that they have everything going for them, but just their mindset just kind of stops them because maybe they feel like everything's against them, or they're externalizing a lot of the issues, right? And like, I'm always a preacher of like, just see what you can fix about yourself and not what you can't control at the end of the day, right? So it's so good to speak with people like you and with the same mentality as well. Like, just, you know, life sucks, man. Life's gonna be throwing shit at you all the time. You either take it with a smile, or you take it but you're gonna take it either way. And you might as well take it happy and, you know, improve yourself and get better at something you love, or something you enjoy. And same, I like, if I had to compare my journey right now, obviously I can't compare to you, but like, in terms of me coming from, like, I had zero physicality. I came from competing at a pretty high level in gaming, which required me to be like sitting down for 14 hours a day for 4 years. That's like pretty crippling, especially when you're hitting 30. To then going to the sport, like training, you know, 8 to 10 hours a week and all that stuff, like that required for like the initial push was, as you said, like just very much all in, you know, doing weights, going to massages, like making stretching properly. Now I can feel that I'm still training the same amount of hours, but I just kind of just toned down the intensity just a little bit. But I'll probably, like, if I ever get to a stage where the professors are like, okay, you're ready to start competing, I'll probably like just turn it back up to 150 to like practice on
I know
technique.
what you're saying,
and all that,
but
you know?
it's not sustainable.
I don't think so either.
to
I
train.
agree.
I mean, I've done the training at 150. You'll get fed up of it. Honestly, you do that for a couple of weeks and you'd compete. You'd come back from the competition and you say, listen, I'm done with this. I don't want to do this sport ever again. I've reached it. I've reached what I wanted to reach, which was my first competition. I don't want to do this again. And it will break you mentally, honestly. 150% is for just a week before a competition.
Okay.
And not even a week before, 2 weeks before. And then you stop a week before.
Okay.
So then you taper.
Do you think like it's just a burnout? You burn out on the dopamine of it?
It's not about the burnout. Because you can burn out and come back. But it's going to be so disappointing that you're going to go to a competition, especially your first one, going in with the mentality that you're going to win and you're going to tap out everyone, which is what I went in with.
No, I would never. I'm way too... I've had my fair share of getting my ass kicked, so I would never go with that mentality. I would go with...
But you wouldn't even know you're going in with that mentality because you put in the effort and you know that you're ready for this. You have your game plan, you have everything in position, and if I'm there, I do this, and you feel like easy. this isn't even chess anymore. I'm just playing checkers now.
Okay.
It's not even it's when he's gonna do it, not even what he's gonna do. And then he'll come out with something random and he'll eat 2 of your pieces and you're in a losing position now.
For sure, yeah.
And it will throw you off your game. So you would have prepared so much by playing so many games, which is the draft board. And then you're there and a new game pops up because there are infinite combinations of what they can do.
I think like a competition setting just teaches you something that you can never learn in a sparring or a training setting as well, right?
No, definitely. I mean,
even the intensity. Yeah, I've never gone all out. I don't think I've ever gone like full power. I've always been very conservative, like conserve my energy. And I've always told my sparring partners, like, listen, relax, like, you're going to beat me if you're going to go full power because I'm not going to match it.
You won't go full power. You won't experience full power from people till the first competition.
I think so, yeah.
Because I've sparred with people in open matches and then I've sparred with them in the committee, and it's like I'm sparring 2 different people.
Yeah.
The strength they grew.
I think I have a theory. I think it's just the adrenaline that their kidneys are just so full power. Their body's full of cortisol and adrenaline, and you're just like going all out.
It's crazy, but the jump from who you're training with versus who you're competing with, you feel it. Even maybe I was tense as well, so it could be from my end as well. But
I don't know.
They're
the only
intense.
fear I have, like, I'm not scared of losing. I'm not scared of getting tapped. The only fear I have right now is injury. Like, I'm just scared of getting injured.
Don't think about that too much because you'll attract it.
I know, no, for sure. But like, I think it's normal as well because I was talking to Sean and he was saying like there are other people that started scared of injuries and now they don't really care about it. But I think it's because until I convince myself that I'm strong enough, I'm just gonna feel that way. But we'll see. We'll get there.
Eventually.
But no, eventually, it's just
it's only a matter of time.
It's a process. I like it. It gives me shit to think about when I'm very busy with work. I'm like, okay, I have a session tomorrow morning, so I'll be okay. That's the thing, right? Regardless of how stressed I am, I'm like, that's gonna go away.
Exactly.
I think like something I heard a lot about sports, about grappling sports particularly, is the forced meditation aspect. Because you're forced to not think about anything else. Like you cannot think about anything when somebody's mounting you. And like literally their ball sack is in your face and they're trying to choke you out. There is nothing else. Like no problem is too big that you cannot, that you have to think about it at that stage.
That's one of the things that I love about jiu-jitsu because I usually, if I go into the evening class, I'll do all the evening classes. So that's around 4 hours because then I'll stay open mat, I'll talk to some people. There is no other time during the day except when I sleep that I can stay 4 hours away from my phone.
Yes. And that's the thing. I leave it as well. I live in the locker room and I'm the same. Amazing. Because I'm like constantly on my phone as well. I agree with you. And for me, somebody who has been a slave to technology since I can remember, being able to just pack it up and like just not like literally, I've done 3.5, 4 hours in open mat as well. Like on Saturdays especially, I love it. Because you're talking technique, you're watching other people and all that, and there's that community aspect as well. But yeah, it is. My brain has never been like, mindset has never been healthier since the last now almost 6 months since I started again.
Sport definitely helps. It's not.
And I've done football, but I've played football. I mean, we used to play like 2-3 times a week, I think, and at some point when in our mid-20s, we used to go and play quite a bit. And I've done gym and I've done boxing and all that, but nothing came close to this.
Because it's sort of direct encounter with someone.
That's it.
He's there to kill you and you're there to kill him.
When you're locked in a triangle and you're literally smelling the guy's fucking feet and all that, and like there's nothing else you can think about. So all your body is just saying is just get out of this. Like you are literally forcing yourself in the present moment, which is very tough to do. Unless you're really good at meditating, which I suck at. Tried it, horrible experience. I did it for like 3 months.
Meditation is important, but
I tried it for 3 months. I did it every day for 3 months religiously, and it was the most anxious 3 months of my life.
But what is meditation to you? Let's start from
I used to do we used to do guided meditation.
Okay.
So I used to sit there in a room. We had like this room set up at work and everything.
To me, that's bullshit already.
And it just didn't work for me.
Because you're already identifying a physical place where you want to be with meditation.
No, but then I tried it at home. I tried it everywhere. Like I just tried to do the breathing.
Excuses. Let's break this down.
Maybe it could be.
Yeah.
It just didn't work.
Exactly. All the methods you've tried didn't work, but doesn't mean meditation doesn't work.
But keep in mind, I have an ADHD brain as well, which really sucks with meditation as well. Like that, they're very much oil and water.
Yeah, I mean, you see me as well. I'm not one to stay in the same place a lot, so I bounce a lot in the chair, and I don't think the producers and the editors are gonna like the change in audio. I'm sorry. But no, I think putting a title of meditation on something, let's not call it meditation for a while. Let's call it time alone with thinking nothing. Now, it's difficult to think nothing sometimes, but even if it's you just woke up and you stepped outside, I don't know if you have a small yard, or you just step outside the door, you open a window, you get some fresh air, and you just stare and breathe.
Yeah.
Let the thought take you wherever it wants to then. But just don't force anything. To me, that's already meditation. I think it was Joe Rogan's podcast with Naval. He has a great book.
I want to Google it.
Al-Monk of
Naval Ravikant.
Exactly, Naval Ravikant. He speaks about meditation in depth. And it's a great segment of the podcast he has with him. And he speaks that meditation doesn't have to start with sort of time blocking or it has to be specific ways. You know, it's all about finding your own way with meditation. And I do believe in that because I used to try these 10-minute meditation and candles and, breathing and a specific room. But then you're always limiting yourself because what happens when you're abroad? You're not going to meditate. You're not going to pause and breathe and see things from a third person, because that's what I like to do during meditation. Just
like astral project yourself.
Exactly, and see it from a third eye, third person. Third person perspective. Thank you.
An experiential perspective.
And that teaches you a lot because you're still alone with yourself, with your thoughts, and you're giving that time. But it's not necessarily at 8 in the morning with a candle every day.
In fact, so for the record, I believe in meditation and I know it works. It's just that particular thing didn't work for me. Before I started being more physically active, my meditation was gaming because I couldn't think of anything else while I'm gaming. And, competing at a pretty high level in quite a few games, you can't think about anything else because your opponent's not going to give you, your opponents don't suck. They're very, very good opponents, If you are, when we did World of Warcraft, when we were raiding, clearing everything, the whole content in the first 3 weeks, one tiny mistake can lose you 5 minutes of time. But when you're raiding 4 times a week, and when you have 4 hours, so you have 16 hours in a week to clear the content. 5 minutes is a big deal because you have 25 people in a roster, 20 people that are raiding at the same time. If one person fucks up, that's 5 minutes. If another person fucks up, that's another 5 minutes. So you're just building that. So everyone needs to be really, really focused, and you get in the state of flow.
I was gonna say it was flow.
You get into this flow state of you're not even thinking about the actual game now because you've done. And jiu-jitsu is very similar as well. Muzumechi gets into a lot of flow states. He said he doesn't even remember most of his roles in tournaments. He just lets his body do the work because he's trained the same drill so many times that, if he does this, I do that. If he does this, I do that. If I do this, he does that. And so very similar in the gaming aspect is that when you are in state of flow, you're going to be at your peak performance in a video game because you're not thinking. Because when you think, usually you start making mistakes. Because you're disengaging your sensory system and you're engaging your thinking brain, which stops you from being at your best level. So that was my meditation for a long time. No, I still game. Don't get me wrong, I still game every day. But I game every day usually it's to unwind. Again, it is a meditation exercise.
Okay.
But it is an unwinding now. It's no longer as an escapist
It
approach.
doesn't stress you when you game now.
That's a long shot. I don't get as stressed.
Okay.
I still get stressed.
You still break controllers?
No, I've never broken controllers. Never been a
No?
person. No. I've hurt myself like slamming on the desk, But
Alright,
I take good care of my tech. I'm a
Alright.
techie. I love building computers. Like I understand how expensive shit is, and I'm not
Smashed
a
a
controller.
controller or
But I'm not
two,
a
eh?
controller player. I'm a mouse.
Okay.
I'm a PC gamer, and I'm not breaking a €150 mouse. I do slam my mouse a lot though, right? So Joanne is part of the same group of people we play with, and they
So
hear
you
me.
all game.
Yes, Joanne creates World of Warcraft guides as well.
I'm not too familiar with the game.
Check
but,
her out, Alexis JTV. Shout out, by the way. But yeah, so that state of flow, and I think that state of flow can also bleed into anything really, like even your career, even at work, right? Like when you have a really, like for example, like planning your day effectively, you're taking away all that thinking of what's next, right? So you get in the state of flow of how to deal with particular people, how to speak in certain meetings, how to present a keynote conversation, how to present a product, how to pitch, all that stuff, how to think in terms of structuring something, how to deal with objections, how to sell. I find them all state of flow states, like especially in sales. I love sales. When you start selling something, when you are in a, you're coming off a really good high because you've just sold a really good, property or whatever, or you've sold a lending facility, or you've sold a car, and the next customer usually like you're in that state of flow, and you're just non-stop, right? Like I think it bleeds into your career, it bleeds into your relationship as well. Like if you're getting that state of, I don't need to think because now I'm in my like second nature. Everything's natural to me.
But that comes with practice.
Yes, for sure.
So
you need to put in the hours.
Exactly.
Man,
so meditation isn't gonna come easy.
No.
It has to come with practice.
For sure. For me, I think like forced meditation for me is the way to go. The sitting down in a room is never going to work for me. I tried it every day for 3 months. I'm not joking.
It's not a realistic setting either.
It's just, but some people thrive in it. Some people love it.
Mm-hmm. It's a disconnect too, so I can see how it works.
To be fair, like if you can manage to master that, that's probably the best way to meditate, because you have you have control over your mind. Right? You can literally just put the volume knob down. I can't. I don't think I will ever be able to put the volume knob down by myself. I have to force it.
I'll never say never. Never.
I'm a bit older than you, so a bit less enthusiastic about life.
But
I still am very enthusiastic, probably more than the average 35-year-old.
Oh, 35, you're young.
But
you're young. You're still in the primes of life,
Can we just get a snippet of this? Just no, I'm not going to. I disagree completely. I've lived longer than him, so what we'll do is we'll take the snippet and I will send it to you in
13 years.
Jesus Christ, 13 years. 13 years.
And I'll be like, what can happen in 13 years?
Do you still feel the same, bro?
I'll feel super. I'll feel more accomplished,
I think I agree to a state. Like I still have a really good outlook on life. To be fair, like I'm the happiest I've ever been mentally.
And that came with lots of downs and lots of experiences,
yes.
Lots of ups as well. So
to be fair, the ups I didn't really appreciate. I don't think I think I've learned more personally through failing and through the shitty times than the good ones.
I think everyone does, but when a good one comes, you just appreciate it. I just appreciate it now.
Yes, now I do. Like, but I think I didn't in my 20s, for example. Like, if I get a promotion or when I used to get a sale, it was like, okay, what's next thing? It was more a sense of relief than a sense of accomplishment.
I agree. Sorry for cutting you off there, but I do see myself hopping from one thing to another very quickly and not ever digesting what happened or what is going on. Just what's the next mountain to climb? What's the highest mountain to climb now? It's always
that's a very
always wanting more, which isn't healthy, but it's now's the time that I have the energy and the time to do that.
Is it basically you trying to find your limit? Like how far you can go in anything that you do?
I think it's reaching the highest limit in the specific field before moving on to the next field. So if it was academics, I mean, I got my A-levels for medicine. I never ended up going into medicine because that wasn't really my field. If it was sport, again, competing at the Paralympic Games, huge achievement. Then I left it at that almost. Now it's the next one, like competing at the Olympics almost, of grappling in this case. So there's always something better. I mean, my dream is to learn every single language. And
Every single language. You know how many languages there are, right?
There are a lot. But being able to hold a conversation with everyone and sort of being like good. That's, I think, one of my biggest limits right now, because I only speak 2 languages well. I can speak some German, English, and Maltese. I don't speak Italian. I can understand just a bit. I know. I need to learn my languages.
Like
now.
if you learn Italian, French, or Spanish, you can practically speak. You can jump from one or another much easier.
So how many languages do you speak?
Pardon?
How many languages?
No, I mean, I speak Maltese, English, Italian. I can speak a little bit of German. I can understand French and Spanish to an extent. Like if the person speaks
slowly.
in a decent, not even slowly, but in a decent cadence, I can understand it to a certain extent. Picked up some Japanese through watching a lot of anime. German through Duolingo as well. Huh?
Really? No, German. I studied German when
I did Duolingo for like a year.
Esra?
Yeah, that, and my girlfriend's mom is German, so we kind of used to spar a bit with German and see where. But I can't hold a conversation in German for sure.
The difficulty in language is basically kind of keep speaking the language.
Yeah.
You have to keep speaking the language, and it's difficult to do if you don't have someone to speak it.
You need to surround yourself with people that can speak it.
Yeah. Have you tried? What is kind of the language that kind of you not fear to learn? Not fear. It's a metaphor, but
apprehensive.
the one that you think is going to be the hardest to learn.
There are a couple of hard ones I can think of. I mean, Russian, Chinese, and Russian Mandarin probably are the toughest because of the
Mandarin is
alphabet.
considered one of the easiest, huh?
But
to
the
speak.
alphabet, just lines.
Like,
It's tough.
but
It's tough.
don't try. Like, but if you're just talking, like Mandarin is considered quite easy to pick up and learn. It's very simple
Really?
compared to like Japanese, for example, or
Then
Korean.
maybe some Portuguese then.
But again, Portuguese, if you know Spanish, you can switch, because Portuguese is very based, is close. It's not the same, but it's close. And then if you learn Portuguese, you can speak Brazilian Portuguese, right?
Exactly.
But then you get like languages like Hungarian, which have literally very little relation with other languages. Like Hungarian is very difficult.
I can attest to that. The Hungarian has no
Roots.
clear roots.
Yeah, the roots in Hungarian, like you wouldn't say, oh, like for example, if you go Slavic, a lot of Slavic words are very, like if you jump from Bulgarian to Russian to Croatian, you'll see a bit of links. If you go Hungarian, it has literally zero ties with any other country.
Really?
It's just this weird, it's just this really weird insular language. It's very interesting, but it's very hard to learn because it has very limited roots. Like, why is French easy? Because French, it's literally like a lot of the words are Italian, or like vice versa, whatever. They're Latin based, right? Like Maltese is very hard because Maltese has Semitic and Latin roots.
Exactly.
But it still has, like if you go to Lebanon,
I want to learn Arabic as well.
But it depends with Arabic, because there's Aramaic, there's Lebanese, there's the Kurdish, there's different roots of.
Just speaking to everyone's my goal. Everyone in the having just at least a bit of an.
I love languages. I would love to.
Sentence.
I would love if we went on this journey together.
Because what's the language we're gonna learn for the next 3 months?
3 months. I think if we can perfect, if you help me perfect German, and you perfect it together, we'll do it. I'll subscribe back to the Duolingo bird that's been haunting my notifications.
He's very gloomy right now. My Duolingo bird.
It's true. But I used to do the lessons and all that. It's pretty cool. I don't know how useful Duolingo is. I've heard mixed reviews.
I like it.
I think it's good for basics, but again, you need to converse to pick up the language. But I love languages. Like I love learning stuff.
Probably watching YouTube then would help a bit more.
Like the first thing I did when I went to Greece a couple of weeks back is I asked the taxi driver, like, just give me the basic stuff.
Okay.
Like, so what's thank you, what's good morning, what's good evening, and all
the starter kit.
Yeah. And the starter kit, exactly, like the bootstrap. And then it's interesting because I had never like really delved into Greek, and now I'm like trying to pick up
Okay.
on a few
Cool.
Greek words. But yeah, Hungarian is one of the hardest, I think.
But then
Has
I
very
wouldn't
zero
learn
ties.
a language which is so small. Like Chinese. Chinese is a billion people.
Like Mandarin,
Almost
I
two
had
bil-
started doing Mandarin. I bought a course of Udemy, I think.
It was.
It was alright. Yeah. It was just an ADHD hyperfixation, which I gave up after like a month.
Okay.
But it happens.
Even with Indian is. I mean,
But Indian again, there's
lots of languages. Oh.
how many languages in India? How many languages in India?
Hey, everyone's guess. What's your guess? Mine's 50.
How much?
Three.
300? 3? So India has 22 separate official languages. However, it is a home to a total of 121 languages and 270 mother tongues. It is India's one India is massive. But it also has the oldest language, which is Hindi, apparently. Oh yeah, of course. Because there's the Indo-Europeans. They were the first, people to do it.
Interesting.
It's super cool. I love reading
Then
all this shit, man.
I want to learn all the history in the world. So then I can. That's difficult as well, you know. I have these fixations as well. Probably I need to check that out.
Pretty sure. So when I said when I was talking about the sense of relief when you achieve something, that's a very, very common marker of ADHD. Like when you finish a task, you don't
like
get
a
the
language isn't
dopamine hit. You
finished.
just get a relief. But for you, it's a task. You set it in your head that I want to learn a language,
Uh-huh.
and then you get there and I'm like, okay, I'm done now. So I move to the next thing.
Probably yes, exactly.
So, but you don't get that dopamine hit because the dopamine is the chase. Right? So when you get there, I'm like, I remember very, very, very clearly my first managerial promotion, and I got the call, and the guy said, you did really well. This was my 6th attempt to apply to interview, right? And I had been doing a managerial role for 2 years as an STA, like whatever. So I was like, I fucking deserve this, man. I've managed 3-4 teams already, high-performing teams. Like I know what I'm doing. Anyway, so but I had to go through the corporate process of interviewing and all that stuff. So I got the role, and I remember the person telling me, Dan, like you did really well, good job, like we're gonna give you the role. And instead of joy, I remember just my shoulders going, about fucking time, man. Like, and that was just a clear cut. Like when I was reading about the connection to ADHD and relief when you're completing a task rather than that feeling of accomplishment that apparently normal people get, I was like, yeah, that's totally me. So check it out. Go get yourself
Probably.
Go get yourself diagnosed, bro.
Trust
me. Don't wait until you're 34. It's a much harder process to go through. But no, languages are cool. Like I've always been interested in learning languages myself.
They're cool.
I think if we do it together, we'll keep each other on
exactly
track.
accountable.
Because like the buddy system for me is insane. I remember like I started gym on my own, couldn't cope. Then I found a friend to go with, and I think I did a good 7 months of going 4 times a week, like non-stop.
I do like the buddy system. It is efficient.
I started jiu-jitsu on my own, and I stopped for other reasons. But if I had a buddy to push me, I would have gone, right? But I when I started and did like the first 2-3 months, I loved it, but I just couldn't. It was just really, everything was just really overwhelming because I was on my own, didn't really know anyone except Sean, who was the coach. I couldn't really spar with him. But then when I started again this year, I started with a friend. So we keep each other like, hey, come, don't be a pussy. Like, just come
exactly.
And,
it's important.
Your knee will get better. Come, we'll do it. We'll roll easy. Don't worry. We never did. We never roll easy.
Exactly.
But,
but when you're there,
as soon as we go like this, we're just killing each other. But I think just having somebody in general to start something just helps you. You're piggybacking off each other's motivation. Because some days you're a bit down, especially at the start, until you get that discipline, that routine, and so it's just something that I really, even in coaching, like because I coach quite a few people, and when I coach somebody who's looking to get more balance in their life, i.e. start doing something physical, that's the first thing I tell them, like start doing something physical. If you're constantly working, you're digging yourself in a hole, and I tell them, like, just find somebody who's going to push you. Find a friend, to do stuff with.
Exactly. No, it does help having someone there, always on the sidelines, or doing it with you.
Yeah.
Because when I was young, my mom used to take me to every single session. Every day.
Did you have a
she
choice?
used to drive me. she always tells me, never quit something halfway. Sort of see it through, finish it. So that is where also I got the mentality of not giving up or not stopping and just keep on going and seeing it through. It did help me, obviously. She was very supportive of the dreams and the goals I had. So it made it a bit easier. She prepared food for me. She used to take me to training. It did help out. So she was sort of the training buddy. She was always there watching me.
It's something that I hear a lot of people say, like even my daughter who have now started, she finally kind of got interested in going. She has days where she doesn't want to, and I'm like, we're going. And then she gets there and she loves it, right?
Exactly.
But there's that level of, that little bit of a push sometimes. That
it is needed sometimes.
Even me, sometimes I go to show and I'm like, oh man, I'm really tired. Can we go easy on PT? And it's like, nope. We have to do it. You have to go through the pain. You have to go through the difficult part, and then you just become a bit more resilient as you grow up, and not grow up in per se, but it's more doing it where you just get used that it's going to be painful, but it's not. You're not gonna die. You're fine.
Exactly.
It's you stop panicking. Now I've stopped panicking. If you get in a really difficult position where somebody's on top of you. You remember when we started, you start going, fucking trying to get him off. Now I'm just like, okay, chill. Nothing's going to happen. You're in a safe environment. And then you kind of move, you do whatever, you do the technique and all that stuff. But it's the same with boxing, you get hit so many times in the face and then you kind of get used to it. It's just discipline. It is. I think so as well. What about your podcast? Where did you get the idea of doing the podcast from?
So I had initially wanted to do a podcast for the longest time before I even actually got into doing it. I was pushed it because then we were moving house, so then I dedicated a room to the podcast. I was waiting still for a perfect time, which in life the perfect time never comes. You just have to go for it.
Yep.
And the goal with the podcast was to improve my speaking skills. I never saw it as something where I wanted to make lots of money through or, I just wanted to have genuine conversations with like-minded people who are driven, who are sort of excel in their field. And I had told a friend about it who it was the first episode we had with Fabio. He has his own YouTube channel and we started from there, and we said we were still testing out the audio and the setup and everything. And he was like, "It's fine, just let's go for it. We'll just sit down and let's go for it." And we weren't even planning on posting the first episode, but it turned out to be one of our best episodes to date because it was really genuine. It was a really nice conversation. He was speaking really well, the great ideas. We were a good duo as hosts, and I really loved it. Then we had some other interviews with other people great in their field. We have a good podcast coming up with quite a big name now as well. So
you can't name drop it?
No.
Okay.
After it drops, we'll drop it.
When is it releasing? Because your episode will come out.
Hopefully very soon.
Oh, that's good.
It's a good guest. And you're always learning from the different conversations. Even just here today, we're three different people, three different minds. It's not just one person. This was one of Fabio's main points, which I really liked. Having a team isn't just the boss and the members or colleagues draining from the boss's ideas. Everyone has their own mind. They're all making mistakes, 3 different mistakes at the same time, rather than one mistake being done. So you're learning 3 times as fast. So it's really good to have a good team dynamic in such a thing like this. And I really wanted to do it. It was the next fixation. It definitely taught me a lot, both from managing side and content side and planning and editing. Because we're a small team as well, so most of the roles you're wearing many hats.
Yeah.
And No, it definitely keeps on teaching me, especially that maybe life isn't that tough after all, you know? People are doing it, and they're doing it younger, and they're doing it more efficiently, and I'm learning from his method, I'm learning from her timetable, I'm learning from his morning routine, I'm learning a bit from everyone, and I'm creating and molding the perfect person who I think is Thomas now. Because we're only as good as our interactions, I think, in life, and the more people I meet and the more people I speak to, the greater my library in my brain is to build a better version of me. Before I had this conversation, maybe I wouldn't have thought of, I don't know, being so efficient with time or time blocking, or, you know, for example, or being so disciplined, or maybe keeping cool during training, or not going for 150%, or maybe even going just a bit over sometimes, you know. Because not only are we learning from the people we speak to, even just saying my story aloud, I'm hearing it again and piecing things together from the jigsaw puzzle, which is our life, you know. And it sometimes makes more sense now than it maybe did a couple of years ago when I was younger. Now I have more tools in my box to really understand certain ideas, and like that, even watching the podcast back, I'm still learning from the different podcasts. I'm still learning from the different experiences. I'm still learning from the different outlooks people have on life. And everyone's is different, which is the most beautiful thing about a podcast. You're always learning. And even if you don't have 2 cameras and 2 mics or whatever, just sitting down with a couple of friends, maybe have a beer, or enough, get takeout, or, you know, just meet up in a car park, meet up at someone's house, meet up next to the beach, and just have a chat. You don't need to record it. You're learning so much from that conversation, even if it's not a conversation like we had today, you know, a bit broader, a bit more
faceted.
Exactly, because we picked on many topics. Let's say, for example, next time we pick a specific topic about timetabling, and we really go in depth on that. My idea of timetabling and time boxing and has been built through my life's experiences, and I put my own little twist on them.
Yeah.
When I speak about them, I'm gonna piece things more together when I say them, and you're gonna give me your 2 cents on that as well, to continue adding to my timetabling method. So we're always learning, and the moment we stop sort of putting ourselves out there and not giving ourselves the time to really learn, because life is all about learning, I feel like, and the moment we stop and we turn off that switch and we're comfortable, is, you know, the moment we start.
It's very boring. We talked about it in the mindset as well. Like, it's really like a lot of people who suffer with depression, for example, and again, it's not everyone, because there are medical cases where, you know, but a lot of people who suffer from depression is because they're way too comfortable. Because when you put them in a situation where there's a lot of fear or there's a lot of risk involved, it can really switch their brains, like they're firing back on all cylinders, you know, and there's a challenge. Because the human brain needs a challenge. It needs novelty. It needs something that constantly pushes. And I, you know, very captivating monologue there. It was really
in fact,
I agree with everything you said.
One thing to add to that, to the depression aspect, after the Paralympics, there was an element of depression, because you've worked so hard to reach a goal. What next?
Yeah.
What's next? You know, where do I go from here? I was on every newspaper. I was on every article for a couple of weeks. I got a great result in another country. Now I'm calm, but am I really calm, or do I just not have anywhere to go now?
Yeah.
So it plays with the
it
mind.
Does. I think when you reach a goal, like for me, for example, when I reached like the point where I had a really good job and I was like happy and I was working from home and I had really good hours and everyone respected me and all that stuff, I got very depressed because I had nowhere. There was always a next step in my career, and after 14 years doing that, I was like,
What's next?
I left a cushy job to go into a situation where I don't know what's going to happen, but I've been way happier since I've done that. Like, and there are times where I worry as an entrepreneur and all that, or self-employed, whatever, but I'm way happier now than I was a year ago when I left.
I think you have more of a chase now.
Yes.
Because you don't know where your next...
Yeah, exactly. You know where your next paycheck's coming from, so you need to
Exactly.
figure it out, you need to build that, and you need to work on something. The podcast was born through that chase, not with the intention to make money, but with the same intention of meeting cool people, having like a repository of information of people who have excelled and done something in their life. And I think, and surprisingly, when what you mentioned, that particular thing of where you were on every newspaper, etc. Kurt Kalea had said the same thing when I had him on the show as well. That after he came back, he was like, "Oh, have I like peaked for life and all that?" And I think that's a genuine feeling that people get when they
it's scary.
reach their dream. Yeah. So I think it is the happiness of the pursuit. Like, it's just keep chasing something new, chasing something. A lot of people die when they retire, for example, which is I don't want to. I've been reading this in the Ikigai book, where like
Very
these
good
people
book.
amazing book, and these people that are the happiest and they live the longest, they never retire. Like, retirement is a Western concept. Like, these people don't retire. They keep working, they keep doing what they love until they die, and they live in their like hundreds, right? So they have that chase, they have that purpose.
I don't think it feels like work at that point.
No. Like, I've not worked a single day since I left the bank. I mean, I've worked very hard. I've done a lot of work. I've worked way more hours than I've ever worked with in my career. But it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like a game. It feels like a Rubik's Cube that I need to solve. So
There's no solving this Rubik's Cube, but
I don't think there is. No, I think it solves, but it as soon as it solves, it resets again, and there's another
Probably.
Rubik's Cube, right? But or maybe actually the better analogy is that there are like infinite amount of Rubik's Cubes next to each other, and you're just solving one and
one
another as
challenge
you
at
go
a time,
along.
definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
But like it doesn't feel like work. It feels great. I'm happy. Like, I wake up with good worries, like as in like, I have to handle this problem today, and then trying to shift them in the right position, and get the right solution. But yeah,
Cool.
very, very cool conversation. Thomas, thank you for coming.
for having
Wisdom
me.
way past your years. A lot of experience, and I wish you all the best. I mean, I'll see you on the mats. We should try and roll together, but just go easy on me.
Easy, always.
Just take it easy. I'm an old man. Okay? Don't fuck me up too hard.
No, I'm a disabled boy.
Don't say that. I've seen this guy. Well, actually, I'll put a clip. I'll give you the link, Joanne. And in the committee, he grabbed a guy by the neck, right? This is a committee, like an in-house tournament we did. I wasn't there because I was abroad. I couldn't compete. He grabbed the guy by the neck, locked his arm, and he lifted the guy. The guy was like shaking his legs in the air. In fact, I would love to show you this. Do I have the link to the committee? I don't think so.
It's not actually on the committee clip. It was cut off, that one.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
yes,
Is
yes.
it because like it was just?
I don't know. I checked for it. It was
But
at like
you
the
have it on
3
your
hour mark.
Insta, right?
Yes.
Did you post it, or did you post it on a story?
No, I posted on a story. I have it, but...
Okay. Can you share it with us so we can?
Yeah, sure. No.
If you share it with us, we'll include this particular scene bit, if it's okay with you and
I
whoever your opponent was. Just double check.
Exactly. You need to ask the opponent.
Can you double check with them and say, is it okay? I mean, listen.
No, I mean, I shared it, so it was fine.
Okay. I always ask a question, apparently. to my guests. Apparently, I always ask this question. If you had one message to tell the world, what would it be?
One message. Okay. I'll say the message, which is my current favorite quote.
Okay.
There was a particular podcast I watched where it said, it was Joe Rogan and Chris Williamson spoke about it. I refer to these guys because they really inspire me in all aspects of life, whether it's business, whether it's sports. They reach the highest levels everywhere. And they speak about going through life. Sometimes we get comfortable in life. And I like to see life as a movie, as a film. if I had to watch the film that is my life, of me spending 3-4 hours on a Sunday scrolling my phone, would I be happy with that version? So no. So I start. This is the quote. Imagine yourself that there's a film crew documentary following you every day. And imagine they're recording your life and they're making a movie. How's that gonna look for you? It's gonna look like someone who's always working 14 hours gaming, for example. Is gonna be that boring, or is gonna be meeting your friends in the evening? You've had a great work morning. You went for a run at 5 a.m. You're eating good. You're seeing your muscles grow through the movie. You know, you have full control of writing your story. So write it in the best way you can. You know, it's just 70 short years, if we're lucky sometimes. Yeah. So let's make the best of them. And imagine yourself having a film crew recording that journey.
Very good message. Very unique, I think, as well. Amazing. Main character energy.
Exactly. Imagine you're the main character of your story.
Which you are, yeah. Everyone is.
Sometimes not everyone is. Sometimes you're a pawn working for someone else's dreams all your life. You never take the leap because you're comfortable. You're comfortable getting that pay. You're scared taking that jump. Where's that gonna change? When you're gonna retire? No. You're not gonna have the energy then. Now is the time. The best time to plant a tree.
Yeah.
Was 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
The second best time is today. So
yes. Well done.
Let's keep it going.
Before we leave, something that we have from our sponsors is a voucher from Tableo and Bukia.
Hey!
I can't do it on the camera. Wait, I have to hold the QR code so people don't scan it. But it's a €50 voucher if you book through.
Okay, we'll do it like that.
If you book through Bukia, it's a €50 voucher.
Cool.
Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to John and Ben and Tamara from Bukia and Tableo. Amazing people. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And yeah, so thank you very much for coming. I hope to see you again. And we'll see. Well, I see you again here. I'm gonna see you.
Yes.
For sure.
You'll see me on the match. We'll probably next time we'll meet. We'll pick.
We'll speak it.
We'll do a podcast in German. All right.
It's okay.
No, but
we'll try it.
We'll pick a nice topic. You know,
we can
break it down.
talk for hours. I'm closing this particular episode just because of the time limit.
Exactly. No. I understand that. Yeah. I understand the podcast too a little bit. So
for sure. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Well done. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you very much.
Thank you.